Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, everybody. Welcome back to your pre-market watch list here today. So what we're going to be taking a look at is pretty much all of the EV stocks. As you guys know, these things have been running. So that's primarily where we're going to focus most of our attention. What I'm going to do is just quickly run through a bunch of them for you. Okay, so you have Solo. This stock has been running. On Friday, we thought it would be a short move. Well, it looks like we went through a big squeeze and then it turned into a short move. For those of you guys that watch our trade recaps, we were in short right into that wedge pattern, took it off before it took off, and then later in the day ended up trading bearishly and then bullishly on the bounce. So today, Solo will be on watch, along with Neo, along with XPEV. Here's some more. AYRO, this has been running. KXIN, this has been running. BLNK, this has been running. So anything that really has to do with EV has been on the move. Now, something that does make me a little bit concerned about being on the long side, which is the same thing that happened on Friday with Solo and AYRO, is if we look at BLNK, I mean, it came all the way from 8. We're trading at 26. It's already had over 100% increase in the stock price. And right now it's trading at essentially exuberant prices or overbought prices. So it seems really hard for me to want to be too long biased on pretty much any of these EV stocks. We're obviously hoping the momentum can continue higher and we keep going up, but there is a side of me that just says these are getting a little overdone and it's probably time for some of them to start retracing and having bearish moves. So as much as I don't want to say it, I think you're going to see BLNK starting to pull back this week. I think you're going to see AYRO pulling back this week. It already started on Friday. If we look at the trading action from Friday, we squeezed up and then we dropped out. This morning we gapped up a little bit. So the momentum is still trying to push higher, but again, definitely feeling like we're starting to see some of that selling pressure. You can see Solo ripped up, then it got sold into, still holding up pre-market without continuously fading out, but you can starting to see some of that selling action. KXIN on Friday had a really, really great run, and then it ended up pulling back. We gapped up today, fading back out. If you look at the price of this, you can see KXIN's over the blue line here. Whenever we're getting over that blue line, we start to consider things to become more bearish in the market. So as a whole, all the EV plays are what we're watching. But for right now, we're pretty much going to be bearish on most of these things. Now, if they do go higher on the day, that's completely okay. We'll watch them long biased. And then at any point they look like they might be turning into a short, we can always get bearish. So even if the stock runs all the way up to, let's just say it ran all the way to $13 a day, that's fine. We can be long all the way to 13 and then we can be short at 13. Or if it runs all the way from 8 to 12 and it starts to get bearish at 12, we can be bearish at 12. It's just that when they're getting all the way to these high prices, it does become a little risky to keep watching them long bias with heavy size. So for right now, main watches, like I said, are going to be KXIN, Solo, BLNK, Neo, XPEV, AYRO, pretty much all of the EV plays. If you're really watching KXIN today, you're in a situation where you could still see a long move and the first target would be 889. And if the price cannot get through 889 and it struggles, that's where we might end up seeing a rejection and then the short rolls down and then we start to fade out on the day. So on the long side with with the long side on KXIN for right now, we would essentially be targeting $8.89 on the upside. If you can get through 889, that's where a bigger move would probably occur to the upside. But the first obtainable target, if this really wants to stay long out of the gates, it will probably be the $8.90 price. Now with Neo has been struggling to continue higher after it after it pulled back here and then it bounced. We haven't really been able to just keep ripping straight up on momentum. And if I zoom in, you can see with Neo, we've really been sitting over this price of just this morning. we've been sitting over a price of $50.20. All right. You can see that little dotted line. We ran up to it Friday. We rejected it. That's the breakout point, that dotted line. Yesterday or Friday, we went up to it. We broke out a bit and we faded down. This morning, we gapped up and over it. So if NEO can continue to successfully hold above prices of, say, $50.24, then we might have the chance, an opportunity where NEO is actually going to try to push back towards the all-time high. We had already seen a stock, I believe it was XPEV, try to do that. Let me see. No, maybe it was LI, excuse me. So LI was the stock this morning that has already done that move, right? You can kind of see it's the same similar formation as NEO. We had went to a high, pulled back, we bounced, we set in a little resistance top. Friday, we kind of went to it, we pulled back. Today, we gapped up, and now we're trading higher. So very similar play that we're looking for on NEO, or maybe even XPEV. So you can see how LI ended up ripping, going up pre-market. That was kind of what we wanted to see happen with NEO. But so far, NEO has been struggling far more pre-market. So maybe we don't, in fact, get that move. But like as I said, this $50.20 is the price point we want to see NEO stay over. And if it's over that, then we can still remain bullish. If we start to get weak and start to come below 50.20, then that's where we might consider a bearish move is going to happen on the intraday play. Now let's go take a look at just the market, because why not? So here's a SPY. I believe most of the drop at the end of the day was due to the Feds coming out and basically saying we should end any emergency preventative measures for the market. So a lot of the credit programs and the lending and the purchasing of assets that was used to curb the pandemic move, I think his name's Secretary Mnuchin. It's probably Mnuchin. I think that's how they pronounce it. And it doesn't really matter to me, but they're all the same. So the Feds came out and at least one of them said we should basically set aside some of those emergency preventative measures that we were using during the midst of the pandemic or beginning of it to help basically keep the market from crashing. And they came out and said we should start getting rid of some of those programs, and the market really just got smoked. So I think that's primarily what happened there. Market since then has bounced all the way back to pretty much where we were Friday before the close. So right now, markets are essentially trading sideways at the all-time high levels. On the upside, if you're bullish, your target on the upside for the market is 364, almost 365. And if you're bearish, your first target on the downside is going to be 348. So for right now, we're pretty much just watching this market, We're pretty much just watching this market consolidate sideways. And that's it. So for right now, I'm neutral to market. I'm not long and I'm not short. We had our good bounce. We moved all the way back. And right now we're going into consolidation. So until the markets are actually getting out of this sideways consolidation here, we're really not going to pick a target. We know where they exist. They exist at 365 and they exist down here at about 350. And we're really not trying to target one of those until the markets can successfully get through the sideways consolidation resistance or support. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is pretty much your pre-market watch list. Like I said, nothing too crazy today, just pretty much watching anything that's EV related that's been getting blown out, and we're basically watching them for long trades and we're watching them for short trades. We don't care which way they go. We'll trade them both actively as long as it makes sense. So I hope you guys like the watch list. Hope you learned something new, and I'll see you guys on the next one. Take care.